I want to give a huge shout out and a thank you to my sponsor, P2 Collectibles, located at 204 East McGalley Road in Muncie and on eBay as well. So next time you're here in Muncie, let us know. Come give us a visit.
What is up, y'all? This is Alex from Plus3 TCG here, and apparently this voice thing will just not go away. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe it wasn't just from yelling a lot and now my voice is hoarse. Maybe I'm actually sick. Who knows? But that is neither here nor there. The show must go on, and we are going to be looking at Fluffals, a deck that I have. Let's keep it. I was mad at this deck. I was mad at Konami because we were not getting patchwork. There are many opportunities for patchwork to have been effectively released, but we are getting it now. Was it ever power crept? You had to be good for it to be power crept. So I don't think this deck is power crept necessarily. I just think it's not as relevant as it could have been when it should have been released in Views and Enforcers. But that's neither here nor there. We're just gonna hop into the deck profile because we got it, y'all. We have Fright for Patchwork, not Patchwork Fluffal or whatever the fuck that monster card is. The dark version of Fluffal Dog. Which, speaking of, we're playing 3 of because you have to. It's just one of the best starter cards in the deck. It gets you to almost everything that you need. Fluffal Penguin, it can get you there, but you need to fusion summon with it. There are some cute plays you can make if you open like Penguin and Dog, where you can summon Penguin and then summon Dog. So it's like plays the role of a Brilliant Fusion if you open up that. Gives you an additional summon. Not a normal summon, but a summon. 2 Bear, arguably could be played at 3. Because you want to see this, but late game it is ass. So you want to see it, but you don't want to play too many copies of it because it's going to brick, which you don't want to do. I'm playing 2 Wings. This is less of a brick, even in late game, because you can just use Toy Vendor. If you haven't already used 2 or 3 Toy Vendors in one turn, which you probably shouldn't do in the first place. 1 Cat, 2 Owl, or 1 Cat, 1 Owl. Owl is great because it gets you your poly, or it can act as a poly, and then Cat just gets you your poly back because we're only playing 2. Spoiler alert. 2 Edging Chain. It's just kind of I would argue, an engine requirement. You don't want to play 1 because you're not going to see it. You're going to have a better chance of seeing it because of patchwork now. And that's why we're only playing 2 Sabers. You can play 1 of this, but I really like being able to recur it. I say that, and it's like I do it all the time, but there's the potential to recur from grave. And then if for some reason you're playing a really slow place game and you're allowed to Toy Vendor or Saber stack the deck, Toy Vendor, actually activate it and effectively get it off. I don't know. But yeah, 2 and 2 is a pretty good number. You can play 2 and 1 of Sabers, but you probably should play 2 Chain over 2 Sabers because the monsters you're summoning with Chain are just better than the ones with Sabers. And then 2 Garnet, because playing Brilliant Fusion, folks. It's just really good in the deck. It's another fusion. It's another fusion card so that you can get factory off. Just more options. And being able to ditch Wings is really, really good in this deck, as I'm sure all the Fluffal players know. Playing 2 Ash, 2 Ogre, and a Veiler. Now, these are just hand traps. They don't have to be these hand traps. They could be Ghost Spell, they could be just Veilers, they could be Impermanence. Yes, hand traps are expensive. We know that. Looking at you, Derek. But they are a necessary evil, and especially in a going second deck, you need to be able to stop their play so that you can make sure yours go through. And Ash, Ogre, and Veiler are the most effective ones right now, I would argue. This stops, unless you're playing Thunder Dragons, of course, and you don't have to worry about them searching at all. This stops all the generic searches, and then this can handle the Sky Striker match if need be. But even hitting the multi-roll isn't always going to be the most effective play. If you can't win next turn, not much you can do. They're going to outgrind you. But if you're playing Sky Strikers against this deck, you should definitely just be prepared. 3 Patchwork, because it is amazing. This card does so much for the deck, as I'm sure all Fluffal players know. But if you didn't know, this card just gets you everything. Gets you your Edge Imp card, gets you your Poly. This and a Dog is amazing. And then more starter cards. We're playing Foolish Burial Goods. I definitely think you should be maximizing out on this. So what if you draw into another one, you're trying to OTK. If you draw into 2, no big deal. You're just trying to send vendor as quickly as possible. You're trying to search and just keep pushing through all of your opponent's negations if they do have any for your board or for your potential board. And that is why we're trying to maximize on starter cards, which is why we're playing Foolish Burial. This really is just a potential. If we have no way of getting wings into the grave, or if we need just something else for like maybe a Fright Fur, like a Fright Fur fusion, something like that, it just gives you a lot more options. Maybe not a lot more options, but it gives you options to play through your opponent's board, which is what the name of this deck is. Break your opponent's board, go for game. 3 Brilliant Fusion. This can, I don't want to say this can clog, because there are times where you might not have the option of being able to go into like an underclock take or something that points down. So Brilliant Fusion at times, I don't want to say at times because it rarely ever clogs your extra monster zone, but the theory is there and it can potentially clog your extra monster zone, which is why I think people don't play it. However, I think it's so necessary, because you can get a Brilliant Fusion off. You can usually get a toy vendor off with the wings engraved because you just sent it there. So that's why I think Brilliant Fusion just gives the deck a lot higher of a ceiling and much more ability to push through your opponent's back row and boards. 3 vendor, because you go through this card real quick, real fucking quick. 2 poly, because you just don't need any more than 2. I saw that someone, like, he didn't get his invite, he did something with the deck. I saw him like Agent Persuasion, and he was playing 3. I don't think that's correct. Not talking shit, I just don't think that's correct, because I think you should be playing these as well. Factory and Fusion, I don't think he was playing Factory, but you have so many cards that you can banish with Fright for Factory that you no longer need your poly. You no longer need to search your polys with like Owl or with a Patchwork. And Fright for Factory can just get you there. And it is also something that you can search with Chain. So I think that it is like, you need to play this. You need to play 1 on 1 of each of these. That's 40 for the main though. I feel like there's probably a divide between the Fluffal players. Play Brilliant Fusion or don't play Brilliant Fusion. It's a little brickier, but I think the extension is more than worth it. 2 Kraken. This is the most generic one to go into. Does a lot. Can attack twice. Can get stuff off the field, and then when it attacks, goes to defense. It's got a big butt, so this is probably, arguably, this is my favorite one. Next to Tiger. Tiger just looks so cool. And this is your spot removal. Makes things big as well. Wolf, the one you're never summoning really. You can go for game, but oftentimes you can just push for game with like a Sabertooth, a sheep, and a dog. Or like 2 Sabertooths. If you have a nutty hand, just go like 2 Sabertooths, a sheep, and a dog, and that's more than game. So Wolf is almost less than necessary. But as I was saying, 1 sheep, because this is your only like going first option. If you do have to go first, you can make a Sabertooth sheep, and that should be the game plan if you're going first. But this is a going second deck, so let's hope we don't go first. If we do, I guess, tough shit. 2 Sabertooth, you can play 3 if you want. 3 doesn't come up very often, because if you're grinding with this deck, you probably already lost, because this deck doesn't have any grind at all. It has some recovery, I guess, because you can recur stuff with Cat, and you can draw a bunch of cards with Penguin. But if you're not going for game, there's a good chance that you might lose, because this deck is made to just clear boards with Tiger and attack a bunch. And then our last fusion, Seraph Knight. I'm playing Underclock Taker, and this really helps go for game, because if you can make this point it to a Sabertooth or point it to anything, you can usually go for game. And spot removal is always the best spot removal package. Phoenix Service Nightmare, or Phoenix Service Unicorn, does the job well. Boral Sword to really go in for game if you're trying to get nasty. And then 1 Tornado. And Evil Swarm Exciton Knight. since you have the potential of making rank 4s. Doesn't happen often because you're really just going for your fusions. You're going for your links and fusions more than you're going for your exes. Sorry, exes, it seems like you're getting very power crept these days. But that is neither here nor there. That is the deck profile. This is going second, Brilliant Fusion. Frightfurs, I understand that they're, like I was saying earlier, is probably a divide between the Brilliant Fusion players and the non-Brilliant Fusion players as far as Fluffals go, but I do think it is worth playing in the main deck. Let me know what y'all think down in the comment section below, y'all, and this is Alex from +3 TCG. Signing out, y'all.